of School of Tourism and Geography Science from Shandong University in China. So his research area includes sustainable tourism, smart tourism, and travel behavior. He also has published several articles in a high-impact journal, such as Journal of Sustainable Tourism, Current Issues in Tourism, International Journals of Contemporary Hospitality Management, and Journal of Tourism, Hospitality and Tourism Management. Our second speaker is Dr. Chun Lei. He's also an associate professor at School of Tourism and Hospitality Management from Sanya University in China. His research area also includes smart tourism, consumption behavior. He has also published several articles in a high-impact journal, such as Journal of Hospitality, Tourism Management, Media, especially in Chinese core journals, and Social Sciences. And our third speaker is Dr. Kalai Vaani Rajandram. She is a senior lecturer of language and literacy study in Taylor University. She facilitates various of EAP and ESP module across the university by integrating elements of anthropology and sociology so that the relevance of language in constructing gender, identity, and culture can be studied. She also received the Gold Award of Excellence in Research in 2020, awarded by Malta, and the Best Paper Award in 2019 by Taylor's University Teaching and Learning Conference, which acknowledged a multidisciplinary approach to education. So let's begin our session today by inviting Dr. Mingzhuo. Dr. Mingzhuo, are you there? Hi, Dr. Mingzhuo. Can you hear me?
He is there. I think he's trying to open his video, but we cannot see him. Meanwhile, you can check with the other two speakers.
Okay, do we have Dr. Chun Lei?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, so I think while waiting for Dr. Mingzhuo, maybe have some technical issues. Let's proceed with Dr. Chun Lei then. Dr. Chun Lei, over to you. You have about 15 minutes to do your sharing. I will alert you when you have 2 minutes left to wrap up the session. Over to you, Dr. Chun Lei.
Okay. Good afternoon, dear postgraduate students and all the participants. I'm very honored to be invited to share my PhD learning experience in China's workshop. I can begin. I came to the Chinese University for PhD study in May of 2019, majoring in hospitality and tourism. During 3 years study, I experienced from excitement to confusion, from confusion to miserable, from miserable to enlightening, and then to a sense of accomplishment when I finished my PhD thesis. So at the moment when I passed the last viva, I came to the excitement again. So it is really unforgettable memory. I think for PhD study, the most difficult time is before the proposal defense. At the beginning, I still remember that I even don't know how to begin my thesis writing. Fortunately, my supervisor guided me to read the papers. I need to finish the paper reading every week. And then I have to share my reading with my supervisor. So here I'd like to take this chance to thank my supervisor, Dr. Mingzhuo Wang, and the co-supervisor, Professor Mustafa, because this is really helpful to my thesis writing. I remember that I keep meeting with my supervisor once a week and discuss what I know from the literature reading. Each time I cost about 2 or 3 hours. So during this time, I got my writing topic and the specific research questions. The next hard job, I think, is to find the right research model. The reading people and discuss with supervisors and classmates or other scholars is also important. Here, I would like to thank another well-known scholar, Professor Dogin Gusoye from Washington State University, who gave me a lot of insight into the processing of my research model. After proposal defense, I think everything goes smoothly. By the way, I suggested that you'd take part in some international conference, which is related to your research topic, PhD research topic. The world top scholars will give you some idea about your research topic. So during my PhD study, my supervisor recommended me to attend an international academic conference hosted by the Hong Kong Polytechnic University. I used this chance to share my PhD research and get some well-known scholars' suggestions, so which can give me a great help for my my thesis. Really, it's helpful. And then I'd like to mention data collecting. I suggest you'd better submit the human ethic application form earlier because it needs time to get approval. And during this time, you also can organize some articles. So try to make full use of your PhD study time and try to use your resources to collecting the data. Such as for me, I'm a teacher in China. So many of my students just working in different hotels. And these students can help me a lot in collecting the data. So this is what I want to say. In conclusion, how do you motivate yourself to complete the PhD journey swiftly? I think first of all, you need to find a novel and interesting research topic. An interesting research topic can help keep you motivated when you are stuck. Secondly, a lot of people reading and the discussion with your supervisor can help you to find the research gap and design your research framework and something like that. And thirdly, you'd like to participate in international academic conference, especially some doctoral workshops, which related to your thesis, if there is a chance. Get the idea from the top scholars and improve your thesis. And lastly, it also is the most important, you need to keep your thesis writing without stop. Never stop until you finish. I think this is really important. Okay, this is my experience. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chun Li. That was very, very short and simple sharing experience from you. So just to wrap up, you mentioned that in order, I think this is very useful for all our prospective PhD candidate and also our current PhD students, right? In order for you to continue to be motivated in your PhD journey, always make sure that you have an interesting topic. Continue your reading and don't stop writing until you complete your PhD. At the same time, continue work with your supervisor very closely to find your research gap. And finally, get yourself involved in international conference so that you can share your ideas with prominent scholars out there. Thank you so much, Dr. Chun Lei, for your interesting tips from your learning journey in PhD. So let's invite Dr. Mingzhuo. Dr. Mingzhuo, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Over to you, Dr.
Okay.
Mingzhuo.
Finally. Okay, thank you for your introduction. All right, let me share my slides. Okay, so today I find some posts from Professor Ramaya. And as you know, he's very famous and he has supervised many PhD students. And I think those advice and suggestions is very useful. I always find his suggestions is very useful during my PhD journey. Okay. All right. Let me go through his advice one by one. And the first 3 slides is about how we cope with our stress during our PhD journey. As you can see here, he said some students are struggling with their work and family during the pandemic of COVID-19, and some would be facing more difficult challenges and some much more smaller challenges. But we have to always remember that life is a journey, not a destination, and we must learn to enjoy the ride. The second one. So this is dedicated to all those students out there who is struggling with their respective study Gantt chart, which was impressive when you first started, but unfortunately did not go as smoothly as you planned. All right. I know some of my friends, they're slow in their study, they're slow in their progress, but just relax, right? And you can see here, Professor Ramaya, he was also a slow starter, and we're not alone, okay. All right, and this suggestion goes to students who are struggling to find some meaning in what they are doing. So keep at it. You have to calm, relax, and take good care of yourself and stay safe. There will be some light at the end of the tunnel. You will reach the final destination. Okay. This is a suggestion telling us that we should have some, some passion about what we are studying, right? You have to have fun in whatever you do, right? He said, one key ingredient for success is passion, which somehow got lost along the way in our quest for instant gratification. And this one is telling us we have to study hard and work hard. He said he always believed in this. Remember, people, hard work, not shortcuts that will serve you in the long run. So start small, forget about those templates and shortcuts that is being promised for a while. Spend more time reading and exploring. All right, that is what I always doing during my PhD journey. I always read and explore by myself. All right. Okay, this is some suggestions for us, but I think for most of us, it's a little bit hard to, to do that. You can read by yourself. Distractions. Always checking. We always check our social media, watch TV, and we always stay in our comfort zone. And third one, stop telling yourself you got enough time and put off your time. You don't delay your work. All right. And next one is most of us are inconsistent. Right. You can't expect to do something once and see results immediately. Right, you have to stick to your study, stick to your PhD journey. All right. And the next one, the next few slides is about we have to read, we have to explore rather than ask others about some shortcuts. All right. Okay. And he said that he found this is becoming an increasing problem in academia. Nobody wants to read anymore. Just tell me what to do. That's it. I'm done. I know a lot of my friends always come to me and ask me some questions. Sometimes these questions is very simple, and you can easily find the answer on the internet or on the textbook or on the literature, but they just come to me. But I think it's not a good habit. We have to explore by ourselves, right? And his sincere advice is to postgraduate students, invest in yourself, not invest in others who offer shortcut templates or formulas. Stop blaming your templates and cookbooks. Start believing in yourself, and you are halfway there. Please don't compare your journey with other, with other PhD students. Run your own race and have fun. All right. This is also about reading. Reading can help you to know more. And after reading, you always find that maybe you know less than you imagined. You know nothing about the topic. Maybe you find that. All right. Okay. I think we have to very carefully read these comments. This goes out to all postgraduate students out there. Do some serious reading so that you do not always take things like templates without stopping to think whether they're true based on your own readings. Start believing in yourself and your own knowledge, and stop looking for answers from others, which may lead you into the wrong directions and trouble it on. You have to read. You will not be lost if you do your reading. Now others are doing the reading for you. That is where you become dependent on them for the rest of your lives. Although we may not know everything, at least the basics, we should be able to pick up the master. Hopefully some of you will pick up on the advice and start reading, which somehow has been lost along the way because of the internet and Mr. Google. When during my PhD journey, I seldomly ask questions to my supervisors, Dr. Mustafa, Dr. Puva, and even Dr. Mustafa are experts in PIS-SEM. I seldom ask questions about PIS-SEM. Instead, I read by myself. I read Hale's book, right? And also, many of my friends come to me and ask me what is a research paradigm? What is the difference about positivism and constructivism? I would say you should read by yourself. Yeah, even I can answer you very briefly, but my answer would be very superficial. And my way is to read a research method for business students. I know it's a very thick book. It's about 600 to 700 pages, and I read by myself. Page by page. And I gave some advice to my friend that if you are not, you have some problems with how to do research, you have to read this book. But I don't know how many of them have read the book by themselves. Right? So my suggestion is that when you ask questions, you can ask questions. Right? When you ask questions, for example, you should ask teachers, what should I read? Which book or which paper should I read if I want to know the difference? If I want to know about research paradigm, right? Rather than you ask your teacher, what is paradigm? What is the difference between different paradigms? No, this is not a good way to do your study. You have to read by yourself. Okay, right. And next one, next few slides is about whether you have to attend the workshops, right? It goes out to all graduate students out there. Stop looking for resources and attending workshops after workshops, looking for shortcuts and templates. It is not how much resources you have, but how you use them wisely. It's what matters. So don't become a conference junkies and workshop junkies. And this one, instead of attending workshops after workshops, looking for templates and recipes, students should open up their minds so that it works. The more workshops you attend that prescribe something to you, the more close to your mind it becomes as you train yourself not to think, rather being told by someone else what is to be done. You should attend workshops to learn something new, not to solve the problem you have at hand. As if you do that, then you are not listening and learning. That is sheer waste of time. Okay. And this one is about the publication. You know, we got our paper got rejected sometimes, and this suggestions is how to relax. You know, when we get a paper rejected, we almost always get angry with the reviewers and the journals for rejecting us. Why not from now on rely on this principle? Maybe God has plans for the paper to be published in a better journal, okay? Rather than follow the routine criticism of reviewer 2, which I find is a complete waste of time, energy, and resources, which can be better directed. Okay. And this one is telling us how to balance our study and life, all right? Dedicated to all the daddies and mommies out there struggling with their master and PhD, trying to balance your time with your family and academic pursuit, as we have the tendency to sacrifice family over self. I'm guilty of that for a long time, trying to make amends now. You still have a long way to go, so start some serious planning. You know, during my PhD, I spent much time on my study, and obviously I ignore my family, so I regret about that. So my suggestion for you is you have to have a better balance. At least you take, for every week, you take 1 or 2, 3 days, spend the time with your family, with your children. All right. Okay, that's all for my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mingzhuo. That was a very comprehensive sharing. I would say that you actually motivated our PhD students by sharing your learning journey. It's more like a do and don'ts, right? Just to wrap up, you mentioned one thing over and over again, that we need to continually read and read.
Yeah, it's very important to explore by ourselves rather than ask simple questions, superficial questions.
Great. Yeah. At the same time, you also mentioned that we need to have a life balance as well between your PhD, your family, and other activity as well. Maybe some of you are working as well, right? Right. Thank you so much, Dr. Mingzhuo. We will have some answer and question session later. So we will have our third speaker, Dr. Kalai Vaani. Yeah, I can see she's smiling. Okay, Dr. Kalai Vaani, over to you. You have 15 minutes to present, to share your learning journey with us.
Hey, thank you. I was listening to the earlier two speakers, and everything they said, I could absolutely relate to. And for me, right, because I don't know, maybe because I did the PhD much later in my life, it did take quite a emotional, physical, and mental toll on myself. And therefore, before I actually embarked on it, for me, I had to really plan, I had to wrap my head around this, because I was very aware that this journey can take a toll on other people as well. It affects the people around you. In fact, Dr. Wang was talking about his family and all of that. Absolutely, which is why I feel those of you who are going to go into a PhD, especially a PhD, I think we really, the entire family sometimes needs to be committed in this process. So let me just share my screen. Okay. Okay. So this is to just share with you, especially those of you who are doing a PhD, currently doing a PhD, planning to do one, already in one, okay? I just want to share with you some of the things I did to sort of graduate on time. And for me, the idea was I had to graduate in 3 years. That was the plan. Okay, so these are some of the things I did. I like to call it dedicating to the D's of a doctorate. So I'll go through a couple of words beginning with the word D, okay, just to help us remember easier a little bit. So the first thing is dream. Okay, I believe everything begins with a dream. And before I literally embark onto a PhD, I started dreaming about it. And you have to make this dream your dream. You know, many a times we do a PhD because, oh, you know, you're doing it for your mother, you're doing it for your father, or you're doing it for a promotion. You know, sometimes we do that to ourselves. And I think that just gives us unnecessary pressure. So do it for yourself, right? And make it your dream. And when I say mission, vision, and vision, what I mean is have a target, see the target, and, you know, visualize, you know, yourself achieving that target every single day. You know, what I used to do is I used to wake up in the morning, and, you know, with a PhD, it's so easy to give up. Somebody just needs to push you a bit, and you're like, oh, you know, I'm giving up. But for me, what happened was every morning I would wake up having this feeling of wanting to give up. Okay, and I would just imagine myself, you know, wearing the PhD cap, wearing those robes, walking across the stage, receiving my scroll. And that's exactly what I would do every day, you know, repeat, play, repeat, you know, and that was a dream. And then after that, I moved on to having a drive. Okay, I truly believe there must be an urgency. There must be a thirst to wanting to get that title, you know? So the thing is, sometimes when we say, oh, we are motivated. Okay, so what are you doing to be motivated? Okay, saying motivated and you know, being motivated is two different things. So we have to activate our senses. So what I used to do is, for example, on my desktop, on my computer, okay, I had a folder, and this folder was called 3 years only. That was the name of the folder. So every time I open my laptop, I see this folder, 3 years only, 3 years only, 3 years only. And in that folder, I had all my PhD documents, all my literature review, everything was just in that folder, but it was in my face every day. The other thing I did was I ensured that I had 2 different laptops. One laptop for work, the other laptop for studies. So when I'm doing my studies, I know I will not be disturbed by emails because I was a working person, full-time job. So I had to be able to compartmentalize. I had to segregate my work life and my study life. So the only way to do it is to ensure that I had 2 different laptops. The other thing I did was I had a big whiteboard in my room at home. Okay, this big whiteboard. And I used to draw on that board, write on that board. You know, sometimes you need to see things. You know, when you keep things in your laptop, it's in this folder, that folder, sometimes we can't literally see what we are working with. So this whiteboard, it kind of helped me like, you know, brainstorm and put things together, you know, so literal things like that help me activate my senses. Now, the other thing is, the other D is discipline, okay? At the core of everything, of course, is the most painful word ever, discipline. And the thing about discipline is it's about taking control and being in control of yourself. The thing is, we spend half our lives trying to control others, trying to control the supervisor, trying to control the office staff. We're always doing that. But here it's about being able to understand yourself and control your own habits. So, for example, right, if you are going out that day for 2 hours, what you need to do is to actually finish your work first and go. Most of us will be like, you know, when I come back, you know, I will do that 2 hours. But we all know when we come back, nobody's going to do anything. You'll be too tired. You know, the body can only do so much. So I feel in a PhD, right, there's no point really pushing your body. because you'll just break down and you will not achieve anything, right? So we need to be quite logical and practical about the process. Understand your body, listen to your body, because that's super important as well. Now, the other thing that I did for discipline, right? Because I think nowadays the tendency, especially with technology and all of that, we keep everything in folders. We have all our 10,000 articles. It's all in the computer. Okay, it's all, you know, we don't take the time to print these things. Now, in my case, I don't know, maybe because I was much older and I see things clearer when I can see it, I literally printed out all my articles. I printed it out, I categorized, I had this super big table, I categorized all my articles according to the different, you know, areas. I had like background, methodology, literature review, so I could see it. I could see it. I didn't have to imagine or visualize, because sometimes when it's on the laptop, it's very hard to see. So I had all these things arranged. You know, I know some people would say, oh my God, wasting so much paper, but then it's an investment. It works for me. So I would do that. And then I would literally take it, underline, color, you know, I had different, you know, color pens and write notes. So it's quite, I don't know, maybe old school in the way I did it, but it really helped me to understand the number of papers and research I was working with. I could see it. The other thing is duty. Duty. Dr. Wang was talking a lot about this, about the student doing his own homework. I absolutely agree. You know, I think that we need to be a proper student first. Okay, half the time we are looking at our supervisor and expecting so much from our supervisor, but we need to understand, just like us, they are humans too. They cannot know everything, and they are in this journey with us. They could be doing 10,000 things, but no, they're here. They're trying to help you get your PhD. So understanding that, on our part, we have to be the best version of ourselves. We must do the homework. We must do the reading on your own. You know, at this point of your studies, right, you know, spoon feeding is not going to happen. It shouldn't happen. You know, do everything. You have to be the captain of your ship. And your supervisor is there to navigate, facilitate. That's about it. Okay. Then we have devised duration. I think just now we also heard Dr. Wang talk about a Gantt chart. I'm an absolute believer of the Gantt chart. But for me, right, I do something called the reversed Gantt chart. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Stephen Covey. And Stephen Covey, he talks about beginning with the end in mind. So my reverse Gantt chart was like this. I started with the end. Okay, so it starts with, let's say you want to finish in, what are we now in let's say you want to finish in 2024. So my Gantt chart started with you need to start with that end, 2024, and then you move downwards, 2022, 2023, like that. Okay, so I started with the end, and then it moves backwards, okay? And this, most of the time when we devise a Gantt chart, we normally do it to fulfill, because we do it because the office asks you to do it. Okay, so we just do it, we put some squares there and be done with it, and we rarely look at it. All right, but I want to say that this is so important. It needs to be accurately done. Okay, and then after you've done it, you need to print it and look at it every day. That's what I did. Okay, so that's where you generate it, stick it on any wall and look at it. And every time, every day, look back at the Gantt chart and see where you are. Can you beat this Gantt chart or not? In fact, that's what happened to me. I beat my own Gantt chart. Okay, I was supposed to finish like 1 year later, actually finished like 1 year earlier. So it's very important to believe, you know, in the ability to see something, and then you can actually see where you are. Okay, this is you know, when you have a Gantt chart, it's like a promise to yourself. Okay, now devotion. Devotion here, often this word is used or rather linked to religion. And in fact, yes, you know, you need to be devoted to your PhD if you want to graduate on time. Okay, if you're just here to do it, you know, on a leisurely basis, then carry on. But if you're someone who wants to finish it quickly, right, it's like a marriage. It's like a relationship. You have to be committed, no cheating. right? So, and as you progress, the intensity becomes greater. It's like exercise. You know, you want to lose weight, the intensity of the exercise becomes greater. You spend longer hours, and that's how it needs to be. You need to be devoted. Okay. Then finally is where you deliver. Okay. Actually, this you can only judge if there's output, if there's outcome. Okay, you know, sometimes we say, oh, today I spent 5 hours doing my, you know, PhD studies. Okay, show me what you have done. You know, if no writing is done, you know, then nothing is achieved. You know, you have to read and write at the same time, because I think some of us, sometimes we spend many hours reading, okay, but there's nothing to show. Where's the evidence? You know, so I used to do both at the same time, read, write, read, write, read, write. And of course, later you can come back and look at what you have written and fix whatever the problems are. But get it down on paper. It has to get down on paper. Otherwise, no, you can't see anything. Nothing's happening. All right. And that's the only way to be outstanding. Outstanding in terms of multitasking, outstanding in terms of time management. Okay. And then finally,
Hi, Dr. Kalai. Sorry,
yes.
yeah, we have 1 more minute more to go.
Yeah, I'm done. Finally, have faith and trust the process. Okay, that's it. Because, you know, if you think about it, everything that can go wrong will go wrong. So just smile and move on. Thank you. I'm done.
Right. Thank you so much, Dr. Kalai. Actually, we have like tons of questions that's coming in the chat box. So I'm going to read some of the questions. So how to balance work, study, and family? I think Dr. Mingzhuo actually explained this, but it's to all the speakers, right? So any of you want to address this question as well, you can do that. Yeah. Or Dr. Mingzhuo, you want to address this, even though you have explained to that? Yeah.
Yes. Actually, I didn't do a good job balance my my study and my family, because during I was in Malaysia from 2019, and then after 1 year, the COVID-19 broke out, and I got back to China. Even in China, I spent most of my time, you know, reading and exploring knowledge, and seldomly spend time with my wife and children. So I'm not a good example to follow. So that's why I give you this advice. No matter how busy you are, at least you have to spend 1 or 2 days with your family, and also help you to relax.
Great. Thanks, Dr. Mingzhuo. Now, maybe Dr. Chun-Li, you can address this question, right? Can you share what is the process of you narrowing down your research? Like you're getting to the right topic. I think that what the question means. How was the process of you narrowing down your research? Yeah, getting a right research topic. Yes, Dr. Chun-Li, if you want to address the question.
Okay. Actually, at the beginning, I don't know what is my research topic, and but my supervisor gave me some interesting reading topic about the robot service. So I remember he gave me a lot of articles that let me download and to read and to find something which we can write. So I read and just I still many things have already been written by other scholars. So I talked with my supervisor, and until one day I just found about the robot service from the customers site. So I just mentioned about to my supervisor, which is seldom be focused by the scholars. So I just from this site to get my topic. So actually, I think I'm the only one to find the research topic, just because of too many discussion. I think discuss with your supervisor is the really help way to find your proper topic. Yeah, this is my.
Right, thanks. Discussion with supervisor makes a lot of process easier. Right, Dr. Kalai, I have a question for you from the audience, right? How important is the selection of supervisors and co-supervisors during your own PhD journey?
I think that is so important, so crucial, because while the thing is, supervisors also, they're different natures, and I think when you have two supervisors, you have to ensure they're both of not the same nature. For example, I had one supervisor, my main supervisor was very open. He was the person that where I sit and discuss. And then my second supervisor was someone who told me things like, no, this is the way, this is the way, this is the way. So I had both, and it complemented. I needed both of them at different times. And I also made sure that both my supervisors' strengths were different so that they can actually complement each other. So yeah, I think it is very crucial to have the right supervisor, but we cannot absolutely depend on our supervisors to, for everything. That's on us.
Right, yes, yeah. Okay, great, thanks. Right, so there's another question as well. So based on your experience, so it can be to Dr. Mingzhuo or Chun Li or even Dr. Kalai, you can answer that as well. Based on your experience, at what stage of PhD studies that the PhD students should start writing, start working on their journal publication? Yeah.
I think the first stage is the first year. I think it's very important to read some book or articles on research methodology, and you have to know you want to do quality or quantity. If you want to quantity like me, I have read 2 books about PLS-SEM. And by the first book I read is, I think is very, very, very important. It's by Saunders Research Method for Business Students. So it helps you to have a holistic knowledge, a map about what is research and how to do research. But this book is very brief, and if you want to know more about quality or quantity, you have to read other books, And so in the second half of the first year, I began to prepare for the proposal defense, and then ask the proposal defense. I mean, the second year, I think it's a good time for you to publish journal papers, right? Because you have to find a job after graduation, and you have to make sure that your paper will be accepted before you graduate. So, for some good journals, it takes a long time to be published for your paper. So the second year is very important. And, your paper and your PhD thesis, maybe they are related. So you can do this you can do your thesis and do your papers together, and won't waste you too much time. And then the third year, hopefully you have 2 or 3 papers accepted, and then you have to take your fully time for your, for your viva. You have to finish your thesis for your viva. Okay, this is my suggestion. So in short, you have to do your papers. I think hopefully in the second year, it's a good time to do your papers.
Right. Thanks, Dr. Mingzhuo, for that reminder to all our PhD candidates, right? I think Dr. Chun Li can address this question as well. How important is that to have support from peers, fellow scholars, work colleagues, or maybe bosses if you are working, right? Yeah, how important is that to have their support while you are in this journey? Dr. Chun Li, you there? Dr. Chun Li, are you there? Can you hear me?
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So my question is like, how important is that to have support from peers? For example, fellow scholars, working colleagues, bosses, right? Yeah. How important is that?
I think they are all important. Can I get your question again?
You want me to rephrase the question, is it?
Hmm?
Do you want me to rephrase the question?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Just the noise. Sorry.
Oh, okay, right. Actually, the audience wanted to know that how important is how different people like peers, colleagues, bosses can play an important role to support you in that learning journey in your PhD. Yes.
So I think after the PD, the proposal defense, this is a lot of time to do the publish the articles, and which can give you some idea on how to do your thesis paper as well, because you will know when you read more articles, you will know the basic logical idea on how to do the writing. So I think do more reading is very important.
All right. Thanks, Dr. Chunli. I have a question for Dr. Kalai specifically. What difference has PhD made in your career, in your social life, and what's the biggest challenges while doing PhD? So there is two questions. What's the differences that PhD made in your career and your personal life, and also what's the biggest challenges while pursuing the PhD? Yeah.
Okay, definitely work-wise, because I'm with tailors, and also and we are encouraged to do our PhD. So automatically when I got the PhD, things changed. Things changed in terms of the kind of modules that you teach. So there was more satisfaction on my end, because now you're able to teach higher level modules. And of course, what happens also is responsibilities also increase. Now you have to supervise students. So all of that was, it was something I welcomed, especially because I know it's just a title, but it comes with it, I think people's perception of what that title means is also something else. They now feel that, okay, now you're worthy of, doing certain things, you have proved that you can actually do certain things. So you will be given much more, I feel you have a broader scope in terms of what you can do. So that is welcomed. Socially and all of that, I think initially, I don't know, you get a shock, like, wow, it can make so much difference, because the way people look at you, the way people talk to you, the way, it's a whole different scenario. I think just from the way people look at you. So it took me like 2-3 years to get over the shock about how things are so different. But yeah, a totally different feel altogether. And I want to say that it's totally worth it. But I also want to say that in doing a PhD, we need to do it quickly and get out of it fast. Because if we drag it anything beyond 3 years, it is just sometimes, it becomes very, very painful. And, as Dr. Wang was talking about just now, how, because in that 2-3 years that you're doing your PhD, it's very difficult to get that balance, almost impossible. So you are, yes, losing time with your family, losing time with your children. So you need to quickly finish this so that you are not losing too much of it. So yeah, so big difference before, during, and after. And now I feel that, yeah, 100% is for the family, or 100% is for work, So yeah, priorities change. Thank you.
Right. Thanks, Dr. Kalai. Yeah, I think it's a very big relief for you now.
Yes.
So, Dr. Mingzhuo, I have a question. Since you talk a lot about publication, right? Did you ever fear academic writing? So our audience wants to know whether, is there any time you were intimidated because of reading scholarly journals? And how do you handle this situation, fear of academic writing? Dr. Mingzhuo.
Sorry, can you repeat your question again?
yeah, how do you face, do you have ever fear, have a fear on academic writing? When it comes to academic writing, you're reading a scholarly journal, then you feel so afraid looking at the sentences, the word, the way they structure them. How do you handle this academic writing so that you'll be able to write more better? Yeah.
Okay, you mean that as beginners, sometimes we are
Yes,
afraid of writing, right?
correct,
So
correct.
how should I tackle this challenge, right?
Absolutely.
Let me say, okay. Firstly, my English, especially my writing skills, it's okay, but it's not good for publication, I think, at the beginning. So what I do is to write one sentence, but one sentence, and check the check the structure, check the grammar very carefully. I'm very slow. Even I publish 2 or 3 papers, but actually I'm very slow. It takes me a lot of time. So my experience is you have to invest a lot of time in it. And once you have published 2 or 3 papers, and then you will get better.
Right.
But you have to step out your first step. You have to be brave to write. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So there's always need to be a
And
first step in everything.
Another way to improve your writing is you just to find some good papers. And so you when you find some good expressions, good sentence, and you have to record it. My way is to copy and paste in a Word file, and I learn how they write. Yeah, I have a template. I have a template to how to write different sections, especially for quantitative papers. Quantitative papers is different from quality papers. Sometimes they have a template. They have a style when you write when you write quantity papers. So I just record some good sentence, and then I learn how to write.
Right. Thanks, Dr. Mingzhuo, for your tips. I think it's very useful.
I can share my templates if you want.
Sure, yeah. I think it'll be useful as well. Yeah, we'll get
okay.
The organizing committee to contact you as well on that.
All right.
Right. Thank you so much.
Can you see my screen?
I'm actually in the chat. Probably others maybe can acknowledge if you can see the.
Yes,
the screen.
we can, but
yeah, we have very limited time, Dr.
You
Mingzhuo.
can just see the water on the beach. That's it.
Okay.
I think you are trying to find the file or something.
Yeah, you can just have a look. Yes, this is my template.
Now it's visible. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not good at writing. I just learn how to write.
Right. Thanks, Dr. Mingzhuo.
Okay.
We will come back to you later as well on your template. I think many students will be interested with that. Yeah. I have a question for Dr. Kalai, right? What is the best method of collecting data other than the survey and interviews? Yeah, this one from one of the audience as well.
Actually, my area is what I did was ethnography. Okay, so the reason why I did ethnography was because mine was qualitative and I wanted to extract rich data. And also with ethnography, that data collection process is quite long. It's like 2 years plus, okay? The thing about data collection, right? For me, my trick was I started to collect data even before I did my proposal defense. That's how I sped up the process. And because my area was quite new, no one had done it before, I was actually experimenting and I didn't know if this could work or not. And for me, I was working with writers and working with readers, and so there was many things that were not in my control, so it's a big risk, which is why I had to secure all my participants first before I actually embarked on the journey. So which is why I think that part was quite fast for me, because it started even way before my proposal defense. So sometimes I think that if people can, if they can actually start their data, if you're very sure of your study and your methodology and all of that, that can actually, you can already start preliminary, running of your data to see whether it works, try getting your respondents, do all that much earlier in the process, So yeah, ethnography, there's another one called nethnography. Those were the ones that I used. Nethnography was purely online. So you don't have to see the people at all. Everything's done online. You're studying their online behaviors. Yeah, those are the two that I would encourage people to try: ethnography and nethnography.
Right. Yeah. Thanks, Dr. Kalai, for sharing two different methods, probably something that less used by our students as well. Right. We have the last question, just last question. Any of you can attempt to answer this question, assuming that your supervisor left the university. It's just between you and your studies, and you have a new supervisors. How do you deal with the new supervisors that have different views from previous supervisors? Right. How do you work this relationship? Works between these new proposed supervisor and everything. Yeah, this will be the last question that we'll take up for today. Yeah, any of you would like to address that? Dr. Mingzhuo, Dr. Chun-Lei, or Dr. Kalai as well?
I think Lei Chun, maybe he can share his experience. He encountered such a situation.
Oh, Dr. Chun-Lei, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Dr. Chun-Lei, are you there?
The question?
Yeah, how do you deal when you need to change supervisors? Let's say your previous supervisor leave the university and you've been assigned to a new supervisor, and new supervisor have different views from your previous supervisor. So how do you make this relationship works? Yeah.
Yeah, during the times, I just keep each time I kept every chance to discuss with my supervisor. So we set a good relationship. After the COVID-19, and I'm back to China, so I also keep the video meeting and by WeChat, by WhatsApp, and I think my supervisor is really correspondent to my study. So each time I give her email, she gave me back quickly. So that's way I can keep the each questions when I meet during the thesis writing to solve the problem easily. And I think except the about the thesis writing, you also can share some life things with your supervisor, so that's you can't be so nervous when you talk with your supervisor, because you just set a good relationship with your supervisor. So I can talk everything to share with my supervisor, and she's kind to me. Then I think the communication goes quite well. Yes.
All right. All right. Thanks, Dr. Chun-Lei. Right.
And
so
I have a suggestion about that.
Right. Go on.
I think for PhD students, we should not rely too much on our supervisors. Supervisors just give our direction, and for your thesis, you should know well about your topic, your framework, your method. If you know well about those issues, even you change a supervisor, it doesn't matter.
Right. Thanks, Dr. Mingzhuo.
But if sometimes the framework in your thesis is provided by your supervisor, by your former supervisor. If you change the supervisor, it's a big issue. You should not rely too much on your supervisor.
I think before the proposal defense, the better do more discuss with your supervisor, and after the proposal defense, you can do more reading and do more writing. Then which can give you more idea from the reading. Yes.
Right. Thank you so much. I wish we could continue this discussion and forever. Thank you so much to all our three speakers, Dr. Mingzhuo, Dr. Chun Lei, and Dr. Kalai, for your valuable sharing experience with our PhD students. We hope they can be more self-directed learner and achieve their dream, not just dream like what Dr. Kalai was mentioning. Thank you so much to everyone who are here with us today.